Hey guys, how are you? Ready for chapter 4? Let's see what happens to Nim now that she's talking to Alex Rover. And let's see what happens to Jack. Where is he? We know he had a shipwreck, but what's going on? Here we go. At Keyhole Cove, the reef meets the rock in a huge ring. On one side were the worn gray rocks where the sea lions sat, and on the other, the harsh black rocks of the wild East Coast. Inside the ring, the water was calm and a light clear blue. The sea shushed in and out through a hole in the reef, but only the biggest waves could break over the top. It was a perfect place for swimming. You could float on your back because if you started to daydream, you just bump your head on the reef before you floated out to sea. When you rolled over, you could watch seahorses and shells and open jaws of giant clams with polka dot fish racing through them. It was the perfect place to do a coconut experiment and find out how to make a raft for Alex Rover. So early next morning, Nim loaded up her wagon with coconuts. Fred climbed on top, and she towed them across the grasslands because it was easier than towing a wagon across the sand and rocks, all the way to Keyhole Cove. Keyhole Cove. I can't talk this morning. Selkie swam around the sea line point and sat and barked for Nim to hurry up. But Nim got another load and then another, till she had 20 fat coconuts heaped on the rocks, and then she hurled them into the water, one by one. The coconuts bombed in and bobbed up. Selkie barked louder and louder, and Fred got so excited he dived in with the last one. Nim and Selkie jumped in too. There was still lots of room in the cove, even with 20 floating coconuts. Lots of room for Nim to float and somersault and stand on her hands, and for Fred to dash and dive, and for Selkie to swish splash the water through the keyhole rock. When Selkie was bored with splashing, she grabbed Fred by the tail. It was Selkie's favorite game, but she was so big and Fred was so little that it really wasn't fair. Fred's legs whirled. He paddled faster and faster and harder, but he couldn't get anywhere. "Leave him alone, Selkie," Nim shouted, but it was hard not to laugh, and Fred sulked at the bottom of the cove when Selkie finally let him go. Just before sunset, Nim tried to phone Jack again, just in case he'd forgotten, just in case his phone had been broken and now was fixed. But there was no answer. It was 2 days since he'd phoned. If he didn't come home tomorrow, she would send an SOS. "Go find Jack." But Jack wouldn't want help. She didn't want to send it. She walked up to the pool to fill her water bottle and picked more peas for dinner. He'll be home in the morning, she thought. Something will happen. And something did. A frigate bird dived to scoop a drink from the pool. Sticking out from his leg band was a rolled up piece of paper. It was easy to call Galileo if you had a fish, but Nim didn't. "Come here," she coaxed. "Come to me." The big bird teased and soared, turned and dived. He swooped over Nim so low that his wings brushed her hair, and so slowly that she could pull the letter out of the band. It read, "Dear Nim, I figured if I offer Galileo a fish, he'll let me post this letter to you. He had a fight with a freak storm. Storm won. Took my satellite dish, a bit of my rudder, and a chunk of my forehead." Jack has a boo-boo. "Can't figure out if I've slept for 1 day or 2. Don't send an SOS. It'll take more than a broken rudder to stop me from getting home. Love, as much as a frigate bird loves fish, Jack." It was a letter from Jack. Nim ran all the way down the hill, waving the letter in one hand and the water bottle in the other. "Jack's okay," she said, and swung Fred in a crazy jig around Selkie. "He'll be home soon." Then she wrote 2 letters. "Dear Jack, I was so happy when Galileo gave me your letter. I didn't really think you'd forget to come home, but I liked that better than some of the other ideas. I've been very busy doing an experiment, but I'll tell you about it when you get home because I have to write an email now. Love, as much as Fred loves coconuts, Nim." Then she sent an email to AKA Incognito from Jack Russo. "Dear Alex Rover, today I started an experiment to find out how you could build your raft. I dropped 20 coconuts into Keyhole Cove to see how long they'll float. They won't escape unless there's a bad storm with really big waves. I hope there won't be. From Nim." She peeled a banana, dropped it into a piece of bread, and sprinkled it with fresh seaweed. One message, said the email box on the screen. To Jack, from AKA Incognito. Dear Nim, my hero would be devastated, annihilated, depressed, and soggy if his raft didn't float. What does Keyhole Cove look like? I picture a ring of black rocks jutting out from the shore, stark against the blue sea, and bobbing ridiculously around in this idyllic pool, 20 coconuts waiting to be a raft. The Coconuts of Keyhole Cove. Sounds like a title. With 1,000 thanks, Alex. Nim read the letter 3 times. It made her feel warm and smiley, like finishing Mountain Madness. And when Alex Rover described Keyhole Cove, it was as he knew the island and Nim too. That's the end of chapter 4. So we found out Jack is going to be okay, and he got Nim a letter. And Alex is excited about the coconuts. What's going to happen in chapter 5? I have to see you tomorrow. Bye, guys.